set player in the mid lane, one of the only ones who consistently plays it in the world, but not going to be in this game as Kennen makes an appearance here again in the LCK. It's been a while since we've seen this champion. Has a lot of lockdown for the HLE. Not a straight up blind counter pick or anything like that, but it is very strong into this and can be something that leads to really nice team fighting later on as well.
I'm just curious to see if Morgan can actually keep up, you know? We see that they save the counter pick and they get him into a match that he should be comfortable in, but Rascal kind of just feels like on another level right now. So I'm curious to see how that top lane is going to go. A very interesting pick ban here that kind of threw me in the ringer for a ringer here a little bit, but very, very cool stuff as we will hop onto the Rift for game number 1. Already match 20.
In this case, hold that thought.
Oh, Deft. He's trying to hop his way out of here, but I don't know if he can. Has to flash the fat wall. Nice flash here from Vista. Stops the Voidseeker. Here comes Clid, though, as the flash comes in from Light and picks up that first blood. Light trying to sacrifice himself for more kills for his team, but Arthur getting so much value done with this. Olaf in the skirmish survives for so long as Ruler will eventually go down, really showing the power.
That's all he's got.
Yeah, a lot of mobility too. BDD, this is a really awkward spot for him. He's going to take a massive axe to the back and flash over the wall. Thankfully, hiding on bush right now. Looking for it, and that is a massive base breaker. Going to try to get in there onto Ruler. No flash of... Oh, actually, he does have his flash. Cleansed prior. No damage coming out there from Haymaker. Ruler in the lane, just a slight lead. It looks like Hamalife is going to take down the Rift Herald here for free. Doesn't look like Gen.G are in a position to rotate fast enough. Arthur going to take both big objectives in the early game here, both the Ocean.
It's not a great objective, and in fact, Life goes for it, and it's risky. Oh no,
man! Oh, and why did he even flash that wall? There's nowhere to go. He's like, oh wait, now I'm just in the Drake pit alone.
I mean, it's an awkward situation for Life, because we are going to see the Solar player just totally dodged. Easy peasy.
Okay,
Arthur is here.
Yeah, Arthur's here. The smoke screen is good from Clid. And you can see just trying to poke it down as much as possible. Deft going to get ignited. In goes the Kaisa. The burst damage is huge, and a big dodge from Deft. The collateral damage just easily
This slow state. We're going to watch this once more. See the commitment in. Deft flashes, and then immediately is able to have a clean sidestep. He expects it to come at that angle, and you know, his friendship level into his hearts have to go up like a lot before he can propose to Morgan until he get a solo kill in the top lane. He's still just a ways away. Nice steal here, by the way. And this
teleport come in, and this is going to be heavily forced. They're going to try to just dominate Life here, and you can see Gen.G want nothing to do with it. Big taunt on a BDD who's just kind of out there in no man's land.
Should have happened at first, but
I think Deft might just be dead here. This huge collapse once again with the teleport coming in. They just want to get on top of this. Yep, there's going to be too much damage onto Deft. As tons of damage coming out onto Vista as he gets caught actually in the river.
Rotate away. Does die for it, as we are going to see second Rift Herald here taken as the dust settles.
Yeah, and you can see that Gen.G are kind of hanging around, but not really going for an engage just yet. They were certainly considering it.
Gen.G decided to back away with Ruler to clear the wave. It's going to give Monolith Esports an opportunity
look at Toby's positioning. But there's no follow-up here. Finally, we get Vista in, but that was a little bit lackluster. Thankfully, he's got Fate's Call. Makes the support look a little bit better. Spares the flushes, I suppose. Gen.G still considering getting in here. A lot of abilities used on the side of Hanwha Life, so they really want to try to steal this one away. Scatter the Weak to push Chovy away as it comes down. We got a one-on-one on the bottom side as well. That looks like it's going the way of Morgan. In comes Gen.G. as now Clid is alone in the pit, but he does that burst damage and flashes the wall. Great play and positioning from the side of Clid as now Hamalife just on the run. We'll see if Rascal gets crazy here. You can see he's thinking about it. He gets in. He's Zonya's trying to beat the enemy into the team, and now Ruler has a perfect position on the back line, trying to just shred through everybody. Only able to get one, though, as so many low health bars.
Gets taken, but I feel like that's a little bit inconsequential. Looking at this fight again, look, Chovy comes from the flank angle because Ruler went to the lane for a second, so he felt like, oh, I can walk forward here, I'm actually safe. Vista is out of the fight. He gets saved by Def, but he's no longer relevant. So this now is a 5v4. And yeah, on the bottom side of things, Morgan is actually kind of getting an advantage in this trade. OnLive Esports commit in super aggressively here to secure the Drake, but there's a big cost to that. Chovy has to dash away. Life gets out just fine. And now, like, how could you win this fight if you're Hanwha Life Esports? Clid has a nice flash over the wall, because he was the only person who was ever really in danger. And everything else falls apart. I really love Rascal's aggression here, jumping into the fight and using his Zonias. Go golden, as everybody tries to turn around for a second, which ends up being the death of Chovy, who goes down here. Yep. And yeah, it's a crazy trade. You know, it's really a composition that becomes too overwhelmingly difficult to deal with because the execution on the engage for Hanwha Life is so difficult. As we see once again, this is the exact. I mean, this fight looks identical to the last one.
Yeah.
Even with
Chovy's gonna come in from the top side.
Chovy's like, yo, I'm coming in.
Oh, okay. That's gonna be a really nice smite here coming from Clid. And you can see they're just trying to go straight in there, trying to wombo combo down the front line. Here comes Morgan, no exhaust available. The damage not coming through this time around from Gen G, as the engage is quite nice. Lots of burst damage. There's the exhaust this time from the side of Hanwha Life. And I feel like they're not done with this fight just yet, our Gen G. They're thinking about this 4v5. In goes Rascal. They've got a lot of burst damage on the front lines, but have they gone too far? It looks like they have, in fact, as Ruler a little bit too late to the party here. Definitely not fashionably late in this circumstance.
No,
way too late to hop over the wall, even though he did an insane amount of damage. The rest of his team,
I mean,
just like speeds around the corner.
I don't think they can turn this. Rascal's looking for the flank as well, but he feels so desperate here for Gen G to try to force this. This could actually cost him the
coming
game.
in. Let's see what they do. The turn, not exactly clean. I like how Gen G are keeping their distance. They have not fully engaged, yet they are being annoying enough to force Hanwha Life off of the Baron. That was very well played.
First, yeah, Gen G, I'm going to get a turret, I'm going to get more. They come back in here with the vision sweep, and
Hanwha Life have no idea.
Yeah, Hanwha Life don't have any vision of this whatsoever.
Oh, man.
This is actually a disaster.
Oh, man. What happened in the last 30 seconds? But we'll see what they do. I mean, they're going to commit here to the Cloud Drake. Cloud Soul, again, would be nice. I don't feel like it's game winning, but let's see what they want to do. As Clid in the pit once again is going to get the smite off. In goes Vista. Arthur trying to follow up here, but this time Gen G looking to turn it around. Rascal gets into the back line. Deft incredibly low. Rascal still waiting for that moment. Doesn't really have it. He's going to try to wait and does Zonias eventually. In goes Vista trying to get that damage, but too much coming out of the graves now. And Hanwha Life have fallen down like a stack of cards. Gen G looks like they might just push to end.
I think they're definitely going to push to end. The back teleport here for Rascal, and they're going to shove this mid lane in. And you can see it was almost cookie cutter. Every single fight they took around the Drake, with Trovy's trying to flank the taunts, and you know, you see Rascal is just getting the better ends of things on the side. Besides that one time we saw Morgan have a really nice slicing Maelstrom on that Drake fight, it was just totally controlled. Chovy did a ton of damage. Actually, we're going to take a look at the numbers now. And yeah, Chovy actually out-damages the Callista here. But look at the damage on the Graves and the Kaisa. Every single time there was some inconsistent positioning, or not inconsistent, I guess, unsafe positioning, or some hesitation on the side of Hanwha Life Esports. I mean, Graves is popping forward, and he's blowing people up. Kaisa doing tons of damage in those fights as well. Every time Q gets pressed, people are dying, and I mean, you can see the cannon damage is also insanely high, but it just didn't lead to anything. It was only onto the front line oftentimes, and then once he was down, once his cooldown was down, that slicing Maelstrom, or once he had used his Zonias, everybody was collapsing through. There was no more peel. There was no way to survive. And
we're back for the second match of the Sunday night, and Gen G was able to grab a win up against Hanwha Life Esports with a powerful performance. Gen G is one step closer to extending their winning streak to the fourth one, and Ruler this time around was able to hand over Callista over to Deft. So let's take a look at the draft first off. Ruler was popping off with the Callista J4 comp in the previous match, but this time around the Gen G B1 Kaisa came in. And we had the fight breaking out in the early phase on the bottom lane, and Def got caught out. But the game went pretty even up until the mid-game. And even though Hana Life was able to stack up some Drakes, but the difference of their team fight concentration actually was connected to the result of this game. So we'll talk about Kalista. I think this is a really good pick into Aphelios champion who has to take a back line and do free damage with the protection of his teammates. But when Kalista is facing up against Kai'Sa, the story kind of faces a bit of a twist because Kai'Sa is champion that dashes onto the opponent. And we had a lot of ban cards going over to the top lane champions such as Renekton, Camille, and Gnar. But the answer from the both teams were the ninjas, Akali and Kennen. So we want to actually focus on how Akali outplayed Kennen during team fights. So let's take a look at the team fight where Gen.G was able to solidify their lead. So let's take a look at the downside of the map where Akali and Kennen was doing 1v1. A lot of things were also happening around the dragon, but you know, the bottom side was actually the major battlefield for this team fight because the top laners were having a duel and these ninjas actually ended up using their ultimates. And Akali is happy to take this trade all day because Kennen's ultimate is supposed to CC as many targets as possible, whereas Akali is the kind of champion that actually looks for a single target. So because Akali was able to draw the attention from Kennen, Gen.G was able to re-engage this fight and was able to grab a huge victory after this fight. Rascal's Akali also took a different build this time around. He actually went for the belt, which actually adds more power for his teamfight initiation instead of assassination. And also, he went for a lot of tenacity rune choice, so he was aiming for that aggro juggling play in this game. I think Rascal was coming in with a very intelligent plan to win this game up against Hana Life Esports. And this was the game-ending teamfight between Hanwha and Gen.G. Akali was so annoying for Kennen. Kennen had to keep his eyes on Akali, but you know, Rascal pops the ults from Kennen and then flips out without getting stunned. In all this process, he draws attention from 4 of the enemies, making them scatter in the end. So Gen.G, the rest of the players were easily taking down Chovy, the only frontliner on the side of Hana Life. Because the rest, the 4 players were caught up with Akali dancing around in the back line. In this kind of matchup between the Gen.G's comp and Hana's comp, well, actually Gen.G had a lot of tools to avoid and dash away from Kennen's initiation. So props over to Gen.G from finding this kind of a smart comp into Kennen. And the POG is going to be Rascal and Akali, as we all kept highlighting his play earlier in the analyst desk. Rascal in this game was doing so much on this carry role kind of a champion, because in previous days we actually highlighted how kind of top laners are playing better with this kind of supportive champions because of the meta, but in this game Rascal was on Akali and he was doing this Akali duty perfectly. After Chovy's taunt was down, he went in back with Shuriken backflip, and he also once again draws so many aggro from the opponents and survived. Going in with the belt and the flip, and also popping the ult from the opponents and scattering them. Rascal is able to play at the limit because he is on top. He is having this peak performance currently. 8 out of 9 votes going over to Rascal, and Clint was also able to pick up 1 POG vote for his performance on Graves. Hana Life, they are first on the early game gold lead, but they always find it difficult to extend it to the late game. So let's see whether Hana Life tidy up this problem.